discussion, consideration, or questions on behalf of MIDA regarding 18-07, which approves the First Amendment to the interlocal agreement between Wasatch County and MIDA.
Mr. Chairman, on the agreement that we emailed out, there was a typo in section 516A. We said that MIDA shall pay 25% of MIDA accommodations tax to the county. That's a typo. It should be 2%.
We'd like
Who are you representing?
My hunch is they would.
We'd like my taxes to go down.
Maybe
Yeah.
as corrected. Okay, so on this one, we've got the version we've got. Who wants to lead this discussion?
John's done the hard work. Discussion.
So, MIDA approached us probably a month ago with an amendment to an agreement that was made in 2012 showing the relationship between the county and the MIDA project area. There were a number of stated reasons for it. Part of it was the state legislature has changed some tax provisions as it relates to MIDA and the county. There were also 4 points that Extel was concerned about before they felt comfortable donating the MIDA hotel property to MIDA. So we went back and forth on that for a while. There's been a lot of discussions, a lot of meetings between Extel, MIDA, and several of the county council. We've come down with something that we think meets the original intent of why MIDA approached us. It doesn't meet everything that the applicant has, or that MIDA has asked for. But we do believe that we've worked in good faith to address those efforts and to try to show that the county's working in good faith to help this project move forward. Are there any questions that the council has? Yes, ma'am.
What we can do is possibly approve this and then kind of set, not the bar, but we set a level for that. Rather than throwing the whole thing out and start it over, we could approve it and then we could still possibly amend it or adjust things along the way if necessary, right?
Certainly. Yeah, there's nothing that makes this the only amendment that we could consider.
There was a concern from the Excel group, which I think has been alleviated, that there was a fear that approval of this process, or us going back and forth with MIDA, might slow down what they're doing. But I think as we've demonstrated tonight, we can continue to work through the process with Excel and still work through this agreement with MIDA.
And this one had references an alternate traffic plan or an attachment to the, is that correct?
It does, yeah.
It would help us work through that loop road issue and a few things in the future.
That's right. It's designed to show that is a path forward. It doesn't approve that because we don't have that yet.
It gives us a possible tool.
It gives us a way to address that concern. Yes.
Okay. Any other discussion on this one?
Steve, where did you have your?
I have a concern on the third whereas. Some of the changes include the county changed the name of its planning area and has made land use decisions with MIDA fully supports. MIDA has adopted its land use standard and guidelines. That probably should include should say this J-SPA land use. The guidelines are standard for Wasatch County's land use.
Yeah, who's the it's?
Yeah.
I think the it's there is MIDA's, and I have not reviewed what plans they've, or what land use code they've adopted. The original agreement was set up so that the code that they adopted would be compatible, and I can't remember the exact language, but similar to our code, so that the two would be compatible. I don't know if that's the case or not, but there is that recital. There's also later in the agreement, the statement of how we've moved from the R spot code to the J spot code. And so that is addressed in the main body of the document. Does that answer
We
your
really
question?
don't know what the it is there.
Doug, do you have any?
My understanding is they would adopt the R spot code. Obviously, we've adopted the J spot code. I don't know if that's been updated or not with MIDA.
We could, do you have it right there? Could I take a look?
Yes.
Oh, he's got a big paper.
Yes, it's would be mine. Code. We could certainly make, as part of passing it, say that is.
Clarify.
MIDA.
Clarify your it's is.
Right.
Do we know what MIDA's land use code is? I guess we don't, so that.
We don't.
I have not reviewed that.
The one thing about it, the MIDA land use code only applies to the MIDA control areas. So currently that would be the Blue Ledge property, and if they receive a parcel from Exdale, it would be that parcel as well.
Just the piece that the hotel is on?
Well, their proposal, I don't know if you've got the drawing for that or not, but it's,
Purple area.
basically it's that purple area, but it includes the road, the loop road as well. And
Not the upper loop road.
no,
The lower.
that lower
Yeah.
little bumpy looking thing.
But that was the agreement, that has been the deal all
Yeah,
along.
yeah.
Correct.
So that they would have, to guarantee they'd have access to their property. And there's an attachment to this amendment, it's at the very back that shows that. So their code would apply to that.
That on.
It doesn't apply to the county.
I understand that, and I think you addressed that further back in the agreement.
Yeah, it doesn't apply to the county control area, which is everything else.
The map clarified it pretty good when we actually looked at the map the
Yeah.
other day. I remember that's what I got it.
So, Steve, do you want to make some clarifying language there on that number 2? MIDA has adopted MIDA's land use standards?
I think there needs to be something added in there.
Maybe behind the if you put in parentheses MIDA's,
That would be fine.
just to clarify that it's
Fine.
MIDA's code.
Yeah, we could add that to the clarification on the 2% as well, if the council's comfortable moving forward.
Okay. Anything else we want to go over?
There was something I wanted to point out, but maybe I forgot what it was. There was concern, I can't find where it is. Where is it we talk about vesting? Do you remember?
That would be, I think, 1 and 2 in part 4,
Concerned about what?
vesting. So the 4 concerns that MIDA raised, that Estelle was concerned about, the first 2 of those were vesting of the density and vesting of the plan. In this, it's called the master plan that the council just approved. In previous iterations of this, it was called a concept plan. But as the council's adopted a master plan, I think that works to address the concern.
Yeah, 4D1. We put the language in. Approval by the county council of the density determination master plan. The physical constraints for the BLXM property will create a vested right in the density and the master plan. So that vested right will be vested upon the MIDA board approving this agreement. So that was one of the things that,
It would be vested under this agreement. It's
provided that, but MIDA has to approve.
Well, the council's already approved the master plan and density determination, physical constraints subject to conditions. So that is vested at this point. It does bring it under the MIDA umbrella as well. I think that's a fair statement.
So if MIDA doesn't agree with this interlocal, because I think their meeting is this week, I'm not sure, we're still where we are today.
There is still a vested
We'd still have to
density.
go back and see if we could figure out where there's an impasse, unless they,
Mr. Chairman,
if we, yes, sir.
we have a current agreement. So with what's been approved, everything can proceed right now. What's being proposed is changing, tweaking some of that
The
agreement.
interlocal, between MIDA and the county.
But there is an existing interlocal that allows this all to proceed right now. So it's with
That will be
that.
up to them to decide if they want to, if we do this as proposed.
And I guess if they don't accept that, we can still proceed with Excel under the current agreement. And
Or we
our
can keep trying to hammer
anticipation-
through this until we both agree.
But
But you've got an
that's the
agreement.
But
case.
the county has laid the groundwork to proceed here. That's, I think, the point that we're trying to make, is everything that we've done here tonight is to proceed.
Okay.
Do we have a draft of the proposed ordinance that we're looking at, amendment to the code that we're looking at?
Yeah.
So one of the items that MIDA had addressed is they wanted to put a deadline in for the county to approve a code amendment. And we had a hard time putting a hard date on it because of a variety of things that happen between now and then. But in an effort to continue to show good faith, that we're working towards coming up with an agreement that all parties can be happy with. I asked Doug and John to work out, this is a very rough draft of the code amendment that the MIDA agreement had been referring to.
It still looks like Painter's Lake.
Part of the concern that the Excel team has is that large projects that have long time frames for build-out, might be a 50-year build-out, our code currently requires that every property, an applicant that comes in, they have to plan their whole piece of property. So what we do is we do an overall preliminary, and then we have a final on a phased basis. In this case, where they've got, thousands of ERUs and large acreages and potentially a 50, 60-year build-out, the concern is that we require them to plan everything to probably 80 to 90% engineering, and they spend a lot of money to do that, but then it all changes because that's 40, 50 years out. So this is obviously a draft proposal of how to do a phased preliminary if it's a large-scale project. And these aren't the only applicants that have this issue. We've had other applicants that have come in with 1,000+ acres and a lot of ERUs and said, look, we're wasting a lot of money and a lot of time to plan the whole thing only to have all that change 20 or 30 years down the road. Strawberry, yeah, Two Hayes had big concerns with that. So we were going to work on a proposal anyway, but this has kind of expedited that. But here's some draft language that we put together that if it's 500 acres and or over 1,000 ERUs, that we could do a phased preliminary plan. So they come in, they get their master plan approval, then they come in and do a phased preliminary. And if the council agreed to allow a phased preliminary, then that phased preliminary would go through the typical process of doing all their engineering. And it all needs to comply with the approved master plan.
Like about a fence compared to, I guess it's probably something 50 years to build out. Common sense.
Okay, well, obviously, we aren't looking at this tonight for action, however, that's good to know. Glad to hear that what we're looking at, so.
And if there, do you have a timeline, Doug, of when we can?
This is on the September 20th Planning Commission agenda.
Wait and see at that next Wednesday, possibly.
I think our intent is to just keep working on this in good faith and moving forward until we get something nailed down.
Right, and the goal here
Does
is...
anybody on the council feel any differently than that, to expedite this process and help this move along rather than... Okay.
The idea of, if planning commission gets it through the 21st and then we see it in October, we'd have the opportunity to make some adjustments, approve it, whatever. We can potentially hit the October 31st deadline that was proposed in the MIDA agreement without having to put it in the MIDA agreement, because anything can happen.
Okay.
So we're trying to address the concerns that might have brought to us. Another item, Mr. Chairman, was the appeal process. And where we differed from MIDA, and I think we still do, but perhaps they'll get a little on this, is that in the MIDA control area, appeals would go through the MIDA process. In the county control areas, the appeal would go through the county process. Now, what MIDA proposes that after it's come to the county council, then the next step is the district court, then to go back to the MIDA board before moving on to district court. And we had a hard time doing that. One of the things that MIDA representative pointed out is that one member of the county council would be on the MIDA board. The problem is that that same county council member would be a person who would be appealing their own decision, and they would have to recuse themselves. So the county wouldn't have any more stake there. Does anyone have any different feelings? What we've defined in here is that MIDA controls the MIDA appeal process in the MIDA control area. The county controls or follows the appeal process in the county control area. Does anyone like to address that differently?
And that process would be the Board of Adjustment, Board, and the District Court.
Right, I think it was I can't remember the process.
I think that's
Board of
right,
Adjustment,
isn't it?
County Council, and then District Court?
Just the same as every other county.
Board of Adjustment and then District Court.
Okay. Is everybody okay doing that, or do we want? MIDA has their own process, yeah.
But it ends up in district court too.
Correct.
Yeah,
But it goes through them instead of through the county.
instead of through the Board of Adjustment.
Yeah.
And so the MIDA representative was requesting that we add another step. After it goes county process, before it goes to district court, go to the MIDA board. So is there anyone who would like to entertain that?
Is that in agreement that way then?
It's an agreement
I
that,
think it's one of the things that they had heartburn, might have had heartburn with.
right, now, county control goes to the county process, MIDA control goes to the MIDA process.
Their control area still goes to them first, right?
Yeah.
Was there anything else that we missed? Oh, we did add a thing in, and I think you guys were there for this, Greg and Mike, so I can't remember, is that we referred to the Lewis and Young study that was done in 2016, and then we put in some language that says if both parties agree that we need a new study that's updated based on any changes we made, or just because the terrain's changed instead, that we can go towards another study.
But we were going to attach that. That was going to be part of it, right? We're going to kind of use
We
that
put
as
that,
a
yeah.
guide.
And it is in there.
It's in as a.
So what was their issue with that?
They didn't have an issue, but they just wanted to point it out. That was something that they added.
Oh,
You share the cost of that stuff.
We didn't talk about cost sharing.
well, it's already done, right?
What he's talking about if we have potential.
Oh, addition on,
I would hopefully share or whatever.
Yeah, I can't remember any, did I miss any other major highlights? Right. So those are the highlights of the things where we're far apart, I think, just not in complete lockstep, is the appeal process. And then they wanted some deadlines in, but I think our actions will show what we've done today by having a draft of this code amendment that I think we can show that we're working towards the things that they were concerned with.
and we're all good with phasing and all that stuff, right?
Where we were that, guys, can you remember? With phasing.
This code amendment is designed to address the phasing.
Okay, well,
So, Mr. Chairman, I'll have a motion, if we're okay with that.
you'll have one or you'll make one?
I'll try to make one. Oh, my God. Mr. Chairman, I propose that we approve the interlocal cooperation agreement between MIDA and Wasatch County as presented, with the changes of having the 25% that I referred to earlier in section
Correcting the typo back to 2%.
Yeah, the typo, and then to make a change for the whereas language and Steve would propose. Is that going to
I think you want to say First Amendment to the NLO.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't say. I'll correct that, it says First Amendment to the interlocal cooperation
We want
agreement
that
between MIDA and Wasatch County.
Hopefully, hope that doesn't mean there'll be others.
Okay. We have a motion by Mr. Good. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Farrell. Any further discussion on the motion? We'll vote. Mr. Nelson?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Just want to comment, Councilman Good has put a lot of time into this, and we appreciate all the meetings he's gone to and the information. He's been through a lot of information here and simplified it for us, so we appreciate that. Thank you.
I really appreciate it. I mean, we gave priority to the staff and we've been very responsive to everything. So everybody's working hard on this.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any further appreciation? Thank you, Greg.